Equality between women and men is inextricably linked to peace and security.
What we need is sustainable peace. And for sustainable peace, we need the voices of women.
If women aren't involved, if girls and young women aren't involved in defining their peace and security, there will be no peace.
Evidence has shown that where women are involved, there's just more attention to real questions of peace building.
For the first time, one of the most powerful structures in the UN recognized that the impact of war on women impacts on the international peace and security agenda.
As soon as it was passed in October 2000, you take a piece of paper and you turn it into a lever. And you do that by putting into the hands of activists, here's what all the states of the United Nations just committed themselves to.
Since the resolution was adopted by Security Council, we have been using it in our work.
1325 has opened new avenues and windows for us to initiate dialogues with partners that we never talked to, like the security sector, the Defense Ministry, the Ministry of Home Affairs.
The engine behind keeping this agenda alive has been civil society. It's been spread by word of mouth or by civil society, international organizations and local organizations teaching each other.
You do finally have women's rights organizations really feel like they're bolstered by these initiatives that are happening here and take them home and actually make change on the ground.
But what has not changed is that women's participation still remains very minimal. Women's voices are still not heard in the head tables. Women do not have the power to influence the mechanisms and the operations.
Those of us who are in the forefront of the work are invited back here, but when it comes to actual doing, you don't find it. When it comes to funding for their work, we don't find it. When it comes to holding governments accountable, we don't also find those things happening.
Looking back 15 years, there is very little implementation.
It's not enough to tick the box and say, we have a woman on the table.
What hasn't changed is the lack of resourcing, investing in women's activism for peace and security.
At this moment, in a lot of countries, there is not enough political space for women to participate, to engage.
If you go in the so-called post-conflict countries, it's like they are still in conflict. Women are violated, are mutilated. Why should this happen when we have peace and security instruments at national level, at global level, at regional level?
Accountability. Accountability, accountability. That's what's missing.
There needs to be much greater political will and demand for performance.
The 15th anniversary has created a global momentum to ensure that the words are translated into actions.
There are steps forward, especially in the UN system, more women in leadership.
We see women's contribution to post-conflict reconstruction.
You see now an increase of female officers who are deployed, which makes an immediate impact. If you have them in your mediation team, in your negotiating teams, if you have them in military observer teams, that has an extra effect in building the confidence and the trust with the local population.
There are a lot more women around the world thinking any peace agreement, any ceasefire is only going to be effective if we're at the table.
Y este debe ser la oportunidad para hacer un llamado a todos los gobiernos de que efectivamente la hagan cumplir y de que entiendan de que no es algo que debe quedar en el papel, sino que se tiene que materializar.